Welcome to This Week in Falcons Athletics, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. My name is Matt Mendel, and this week we focus on both baseball and men's lacrosse, and being joined by sophomore attacker Bryce Peterson. So far for the men's lacrosse team, off to a 2 wins and 5 loss start, a challenging non-conference slate. They also find themselves at 1-1 in conference play. So let's begin there. You look at the first 7 games. How would you go about summarizing the start to this season?
Yeah, as you mentioned, we have had a lot of hard non-conference games to start off, which obviously Coach Fahey did for a reason, and I feel like that set us up for a great conference play. As we see, we've started off very well so far, so can't wait for the rest.
We take a look at the way conference play started. Let's look back at last week. You had the tough loss on Wednesday against Aurora, usually the team to beat, knocked off by Aurora 13-5. Did that simply just come down to a slow start?
Yeah, we made a few simple mistakes that obviously we saw in film that we need to figure out. And obviously, by the results of the Benedictine game, we were starting to figure it out and can't wait for the rest.
Let's talk about Benedictine for a second. So a nice bounce-back performance out at Fitting Field on Saturday, winning by a score of 20-9. How big of a confidence booster is it to see just the attack, start as strong as they did, scoring 39 seconds in?
Yeah, I mean, Max and Caleb at the same line. It's weapons all over the field, and obviously a lot of our success comes from those big players, Gio, Caleb, Max. I mean, they just set up, make the defense go to them, opens up a lot of things on the offense, so great to see that.
I'm curious to know what the halftime message was, because you guys came out in that third quarter, a heck of a third in which you really pulled away, outscoring Benedictine 7-1 and dashed any hope the Eagles had at playing comeback.
Yeah, I mean, in a conference game, can't let off the pedal. Had a great first half, and halftime message was just keep on going, do what we can do.
How about for you? How did you keep on going? A career high of 5 goals, 3 assists. That came off 11 shots. What worked for you on Saturday?
I mean, like I mentioned, I was picking up the garbage goals a lot in the front of the net, but all the success comes from the midfield and the attack with Caleb, Max, Gio, Tyler. Everyone was doing their job, and it was great to see that. So.
You've taken some great steps already now in your second collegiate season. 1 goal at least in each contest played thus far, with 20 goals on the year, 12 assists. Has your role changed a great deal from freshman to sophomore year?
Yeah, I mean, huge difference from freshman year. Freshman year, I was just a big man-up guy, get on the field maybe 5 minutes a game, to now starting almost every single game. Obviously a big role change, and clearly feeling those shoes a little bit.
And you look back at your freshman campaign, 18 games played, coming through with 16 goals and 21 assists. I guess when you look at your first year, just getting used to the collegiate game, what was the big difference from what you were accustomed to?
I mean, over these past couple of years, confidence has been key. Big size difference, big change of play. Bodies are coming a lot quicker and harder, so that was a big change. But obviously confidence, and that's I think I've seen this year.
And you look back at your Waukesha West days and your name all over the record book for all kinds of scoring records with the Wolverines. I got to go back to the Northland route you guys had earlier this season when you came through with 10 points off 3 goals and 7 assists. How special was it? One of your goals assisted by one of your former classmates at Waukesha West, and Joe Ginter.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to share the field again with him. Every time he's on the field on that offense, I always try to help him out a little bit because he helps me out, but it's fun to see him playing on the same field.
So being essentially down the road in Waukesha, what made Concordia a good fit for you?
I mean, I just love the campus. Coach Fahey was great. I just love the atmosphere here, and I just felt like it was home right away.
And hopefully from a team standpoint here in 2025, the results continue to go the route of the Falcons, and you look at the road ahead. Coming up Wednesday at IIT, that's a 7 o'clock start, and then Saturday back here against Cornell at 12 p.m. But I guess your thoughts on this week, you get an IIT team that you guys saw quite a bit last year. In fact, the last 2 years, playing them to wrap up the regular season, and again, a few days later in a NAC tournament semifinal.
I mean, these are both very good opponents that were coming up, so practice this week, really need to focus on what we need to change from the Benedictine game and capitalize on our strengths that we did have in that game. So can't wait to see these 2 good opponents.
And obviously for you already, some great offensive totals, but what goals do you have for what's left in this season for you?
I mean, just keep doing what we're doing on offense. I feel like we're playing very well together. Coming in the season, my big goal is just get 55 points. So I'm pretty close to that, and I feel like as an offense we can easily get there.
No question about it, but Bryce, thanks a lot for your time. All the best this week.
Thank you.
And again, the men's lacrosse team will be in action. IIT on the road Wednesday, back here against Cornell, a new conference foe, 12 p.m. Saturday at Fitting Field. More to come in a moment as we continue with This Week in Falcons Athletics, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.
I can't imagine being any other profession than an orthopedic surgeon. We have the privilege and we have the responsibility to make people better. We've been fortunate enough to take care of professional athletes. We've also been fortunate enough to take care of our neighbors and friends who trust us to give them back their life.
One of the main reasons I came here was because this is the way healthcare is meant to be delivered. Being devoted exclusively to orthopedic care means that we can focus on delivering specialized care for every patient. And that includes not only the surgeons and the physicians, but also anesthesia, controlling pain, the nurses, and the scrub techs, and everyone in recovery is dedicated to treating conditions that are very similar for people.
Our tagline is an uncommon focus on you. We think the focus on the patient experience is what sets us apart. Before we make any process or clinical decision at the hospital, we start with the same question: is this what's best for the patient? If we can't answer yes, we move on to the next idea. Our nurses provide care for no more than 3 patients per shift, whereas other facilities, they might provide care for 7 or even 8 patients per shift. We think this personalized care is what sets us apart from others.
I think that dedication to our patients is our number one focus. And you can technically do a good operation, but if you're not centered on the patient, they're not necessarily going to have a great outcome.
The Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin is physician-owned. It's physician-led. We have the responsibility to make the right decision for every patient. We also have the freedom to make the right decision for every patient.
The physicians and staff collaborate through regular meetings, weekly and monthly, and with a relatively small team, we're able to change the way we do things if we need to tweak something to make it perfect.
The facility specifically was designed so that quality could be measured and maintained and sustained. When you have 7,000 patients a year receive their surgery here, it's important that patient number 1 and patient number 7,000 receive the same care.
We place an extremely high priority on the patient experience here. We send surveys to each and every person that receives care at our hospital. Those survey results come back directly to me. I review them and share them with our senior leadership, as well as the staff and the physicians that provide the care to those patients.
There's almost 5,000 hospitals in the country that are measured. The Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin measures number 1, not number 2, not number 3, not runner-up, number 1 in patient satisfaction in the state of Wisconsin for the last 10 years running.
Welcome back to This Week in Falcons Athletics, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. Now switching gears to baseball. Baseball finally back home. First time this season with the home opening doubleheader coming up on Wednesday at 12 noon versus the Lakeland University Muskies. We talk with an outfielder, a sophomore, Alex Ames, number 1 jersey, number 1 now in the batting order, playing out in center field. I guess 15 games into this season, how's the team looking?
We're pretty confident right now. Team's doing pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, currently with 9 wins and 6 losses, 1-1 in conference play. How good can this offense be? It seems like when you look at some of the scores, the offense has put up some ridiculous totals.
Yeah, our offense right now, once we get everything clicking, we're putting up 9, 10 runs a game. It's hard to beat a team when they're doing that.
Yeah, 7 times already for this offense, erupting for 10 or more runs. Let's go back to the various trips you guys have been on already, beginning with Arizona. What did you see from the team in Arizona?
Well, in Arizona, we kind of started off struggling. Took us a little bit to get going. Once we got the offense going and the pitching settled in, then we started to play how we thought we should.
Ultimately going 4-5 down in Arizona. What was for you the highlight of that trip? You know, it can be baseball related or non-baseball related, but what was the highlight of the spring break trip to Arizona?
I think the main highlight every year is just hanging out with the guys. I mean, every year we have a good time. Whether we're winning or not, we always try to make the most of the trip.
What do you say when you look at this roster? Are there a lot of new faces, or is a lot of, familiar faces but bigger roles?
I'd say both. So it feels like we have a lot of new guys this year, a lot of new faces, but also the same faces we saw last year, also stepping up this year.
One of the nice luxuries, too, to the baseball schedule, you get to go to Arizona, but then a week later you get to go down to Florida, a nice bus trip. How was that trip? Obviously the team played well, but how was the Sunshine State?
was very nice. I mean, always a cool opportunity to go to a different state and play. Even if we're playing Wisconsin teams, it also it just ends up nice being out there with everyone. Yeah.
So spending all that time on a bus, do you get the opportunity to relax a little bit? Can you relax on the bus? How do you go about spending that time?
Well, spending 4 days on a bus can be hard at times. A lot of guys make their space on the floor or try and get their legs out and get all comfortable, but most of the time just spent with the team, you know, a lot of headphone time. Yeah.
Regardless of what happened on the bus and how you guys were comfortable or not comfortable, the team obviously came out and responded. 4-0, a combined 50-13 scoring differential. Was that a big confidence booster for this team?
Yeah, I think the team really needed that going into conference play. Unfortunately, dropping one to Benedictine, but playing hot like we have been, trying to keep that going.
Let's talk about that doubleheader quickly from Saturday, the conference opening doubleheader down in Lisle, Illinois against Benedictine. Able to come through with a big Game 1 rout, 10-1, but then Game 2, a lengthy 11-inning affair, lost 4-3. I guess, what was the difference in those two games?
I think the first game we just came out firing on all cylinders, staying hot after our trip from Florida as well. And then second game, we kind of just let it go from us, made a couple mistakes, and ended up losing.
When you look at it, that second game, did it feel like it had a feel of it could go for a while?
Yeah, definitely once we got towards the end, it just started to get colder, the atmosphere starts to get dark outside, and everyone just kind of wants to get the process moving of, well, are we going to finish the game, or is this just going to keep getting dragged on?
How about for you, okay, so 9 games played as a freshman, a much bigger role here now as a sophomore. How have you been able to adjust to the new expectations for you?
Yeah, I think coming in this year, I just wanted to prove myself, wanted to go up there and just have an attitude that I wanted to win and I wanted to compete. And I think we've done a great job of that this year.
Well, and you have, too, in that leadoff spot, and you look at your offensive numbers through 15 games, hitting .467, hits over the last 5 and 9 of the last 10 games. You had a big performance back on March the 7th against Linfield, 5 hits, 6 RBIs. What's been your plate approach?
I think my main plate approach has just been taking what the pitchers give me, kind of playing into their game or making them think I'm playing into their game, putting the ball in play, hitting it hard, doing what I can.
Does that baseball look like it's beach ball size at this moment for you? Because, I mean, again, you're hitting the ball all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels a little bigger right now. Hopefully it can stay that way, but we'll see.
Let's talk about the road ahead, okay? So the team, as mentioned, will have their home opener, a doubleheader against Lakeland Wednesday at 12 noon, and then home as well against Dominican on Saturday at 12 noon. As an outfielder, how big does Capco Park play?
Yeah, I feel like Capco Park definitely plays bigger than a lot of the other stadiums or fields we play at in the conference. Having the wind aspect off the lake also makes it easier, but can also make the park bigger at times. So there's a bit of difficulty in that, but the bigger field gives us more chances in the outfield to make better plays.
Yeah, no question, a great opportunity here this week for the Falcons to really gain some momentum and get some things going on the home diamond. Finally for you, I guess as you go on now with your sophomore year with this bigger role and bigger expectations, what goals do you have for yourself?
I think in the end, my end goal would be some all-conference awards, as well as a team winning the NAC, and just proving ourselves that we can compete after giving the ranks we were given. And I think we could do a really good job this year at doing that and competing at a high rate.
Well, Alex, so far it's been fun to watch. Keep it up. All the best to you and your teammates.
Well, thank you very much, Matt.
Alex Ames kind enough to join us again. The baseball team is home Wednesday at 12 noon versus the Lakeland University Muskies. Also on the docket this week for Concordia Athletics. Men's volleyball is home tonight in a big one against Wisconsin Lutheran at 7 p.m. Part of a busy week for the men's volleyball team. Also home on Thursday at 7 p.m. versus Marion. And they wrap up this season-long 4-match homestand with a matchup against Edgewood on Saturday at 1 p.m. Softball is a doubleheader on Wednesday. That will be at Ripon. Also, we'll be at Dominican on Saturday before visiting Edgewood for a doubleheader on Sunday. Women's lacrosse, they're home at 4 o'clock Wednesday against Aurora, home against Cornell, part of a men's and women's lacrosse doubleheader on Saturday. That's a 3 o'clock start on the women's side. Track and field Friday and Saturday at North Central. Also of note, acrobatics and tumbling making their way to South Dakota. They will take on Augustana on Saturday. And finally on Sunday, men's and women's tennis will be in action, taking on both UW Stevens Point and Olivet Nazarene. Of course, it's the springtime, so be sure to check out cuwfalcons.com for more information and for weather updates as the weather up and down throughout the course of this spring, and we'll see what happens. But again, stay tuned at cuwfalcons.com. And thank you for joining us this week for This Week in Falcons Athletics, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.